Want to trash that legacy, that company that now Disney has screwed up the last 5 years trying to please a small percentage of minorities in America? Yeah, we're sick of it. So the more you do this, Disney, Iger, Zegler, whatever her name is, yes, this is exactly the backlash you're going to get from parents who have kids who are your customers. You're supposed to win parents over. You're talking to kids, the parents pay for the tickets. You have to be a dummy as a marketer. If I'm Bob Iger, you know what we're doing? Emergency meeting. We're putting Snow White on hold for 2 years, and guess what? Pay her a couple $1,000,000, go away. We're gonna bring another person to play this role because you just screwed this thing up.
Rachel Zegler just collapsed in Dubai, not just physically but career-wise. Her once celebrated reputation as Disney's next big princess might be done for. The actress who used to grace headlines as the fresh face of a new Disney generation is now whispered about in backrooms and industry circles as the star who couldn't hold her image, or her relationships, together. What started as low-level online chatter has turned into a full-blown public uproar, fueled by a never-ending press tour, social media slip-ups, and a tidal wave of internet backlash. Insiders say that even before her movie dropped, Disney execs were stressed, with rumors of flaring tempers behind the scenes. Quick pause, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. You know the drill. Now back to the drama.
I think this girl does not deserve a feature-length film.
After months of escalating tension, scandal-heavy headlines, and cringe-worthy interviews, things took a dramatic and maybe irreversible turn abroad. Whatever went down in Dubai is now the hot topic of speculation, with buzz about emotional meltdowns, career sabotage, and final betrayals painting a darker picture than anyone expected.
So apparently Rachel Zegler is suing Disney Studios for wrongful termination and also discrimination. I literally don't understand what's going on. Rachel just needs to sit down. Like this says, rumor has it, Rachel Zegler might be suing Disney and others for canceling some of her Snow White press tour due to all the controversies. Bro, before the movie even came out, she was talking about how she wants to bring up the woman in this movie and how there's not going to be a prince. And so I understand like Disney saying like, you did so much in this press tour that did not help us in any way and actually negatively affected our movie. So I mean, honestly, it does kind of make sense.
But before we hit Dubai, let's rewind. Because that glittering moment in the Middle East didn't just materialize out of nowhere. It was the last act in a saga that had been unraveling for months, maybe even years. Rachel's public image was already on shaky ground, and her downfall started well before she boarded the plane. To truly grasp how someone goes from Disney royalty to public outcast, we've got to go back to where it all began. The decisions, drama, and warning signs that were there long before anyone noticed.
That the producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Kind of tough.
Let's go back further because the collapse didn't start overseas. It started with Snow White. It was supposed to reinvent a classic. Instead, it's become one of Disney's biggest embarrassments. This Snow White remake didn't just flop, it tanked harder than anyone anticipated. In its second week, it nosedived by a whopping 66% at the box office, setting a new record for Disney's worst-performing live-action reboot. Not even Dumbo, 2019, widely deemed a major misfire, crashed this hard.
Snow White remake is now one of the lowest rated films in IMDb history. This is such a poor reception for a Disney princess movie, and I'll be surprised if it even has a 1-star tomorrow because the bad reviews keep pouring in by the second.
Cinemas were ghost towns, the emptiness louder than any box office stat could ever be. Fans documented entire showings with just 1 or 2 attendees, if that. And these weren't just random flukes. Social media blew up with videos of vacant seats, silent ticket counters, and popcorn machines whirring for an audience that never appeared. This phenomenon became a meme factory, generating reaction clips that racked up millions of views. But Disney couldn't catch a break. Instead of fanfare, the internet was basically live streaming the film's dismal performance in real time.
Things just went from bad to worse for Snow White, and it's shaping up to become one of the biggest bombs of all time.
While Disney execs scrambled for a plan, people everywhere pointed fingers at a single person, Rachel Zegler. Even before the movie launched, she'd been digging her own grave. Not with a shovel, but with a microphone and a Twitter handle. She managed to drive away the very audience Disney needed. By the time critics saw any footage, Rachel's promotional appearances had already torched the internet in all the wrong ways. Every interview seemed to spark a new controversy, with offhand remarks about the original Snow White, dismissals of co-stars, or comments that came off as haughty or clueless. Social media was on fire, accusing her of missing both humility and respect for the legacy she was inheriting. Instead of amping up excitement, Rachel was dismantling it, piece by piece, sound bite by sound bite. By opening weekend, countless viewers had already decided they wanted no part of her. In one now notorious interview, she actually labeled the 1937 prince as a guy who literally stalks her. Her words? "We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story. Just because we cast a guy doesn't mean it's about romance." She was taking a swipe at her co-star Andrew Burnip, and it didn't go over well with Disney fans, or Andrew. Andrew Burnip wasn't just any actor in the film. He was cast as the romantic lead, a breakout role he'd poured his heart into. From rigorous training to deep character study, Andrew gave everything, hoping this would be his springboard into mainstream success. Friends say he was over the moon when he got the call. But as filming progressed, that fairy tale vision got murky. Then, during the press tour, Rachel all but erased him from the story, joking that his scenes could be cut. "It's Hollywood, baby," she quipped, but nobody else was laughing. Sources say Andrew felt blindsided and disrespected. And since Rachel's words weren't just chalked up as her personal take, people assumed the entire production saw his character as disposable. Suddenly, Andrew, initially brimming with hope, was locked in a PR nightmare he never signed up for. Despite trying to keep it professional, those close to him claim he was humiliated, especially as Rachel's comments took off online. When she started ridiculing the love story concept itself, his role became ground zero for controversy. Press speculation about on-set tension exploded, with whispers of chilly silences and subtle digs between takes. What began as a creative disagreement was now personal, and Andrew was stuck in the middle of a PR fiasco he couldn't control. He wasn't the only one feeling it. Enter Gal Gadot, one of Hollywood's most instantly recognizable stars, celebrated for her commanding screen presence and real-world influence. Casting her as the evil queen was supposed to add star power and prestige. On paper, a genius move. But then real-world politics entered the chat. Gal, an ex-IDF soldier and outspoken supporter of Israel, came in with her own devoted global following and political baggage. Suddenly, the two leads found themselves on opposite sides of an explosive geopolitical fence, and the tension leapt from headlines straight into studio offices. Instead of a dream team, Disney now had a ticking time bomb. You'd think securing Wonder Woman as the evil queen was Disney's best bet. But it blew up when Rachel tweeted support for Palestine mere days after the Snow White trailer dropped. People saw it as ill-timed, or even sabotage, for a movie rollout that was already wobbling. That single post triggered massive social media battles and global division among fans. The timing was especially bad, as regional tensions were sky-high. Many believed Rachel was leveraging the movie's spotlight to push personal politics. For Disney, this was a code red, with top brass apparently blindsided that Rachel didn't consult anyone first. Now, the film's campaign wasn't just overshadowed, it was hijacked. Gal Gadot, strongly linked with pro-Israel views, got dragged in, and any attempt at a unified press tour was basically torpedoed. What would have been a typical political post in another context became an absolute meltdown once Gal's military past entered the equation. Suddenly, the co-stars were on opposite ends of one of the world's most sensitive political issues. The aftermath was swift. Allegedly, Gal received threats and Disney had to boost security. Chaos erupted behind closed doors. The producer reportedly flew straight to New York to plead with Rachel to tone it down, but the damage had been done and Gal was furious. During the film's promotion, the two barely crossed paths. No joint interviews, no joint red carpets. In Spain, Gal was a no-show. A People magazine source flatly stated, "They are not friends. They did a job together. That's it." And once again, Rachel was at the center of it all, leaving Disney's $270 million project spinning out of control with no easy fix. Then it got worse. Rachel clashed with her co-stars, and on top of that, she unleashed an anti-Trump rant on Instagram. "May Trump voters never know peace," followed by a longer post calling them a deep, deep sickness and closing with "Forget Donald Trump." Love or hate Trump, Disney wanted nothing to do with that fight. Half the country instantly demanded she be fired. Boycott threats flew. Corporate execs freaked out. Rachel tried to apologize, blaming emotions, but the internet keeps receipts. And so does Disney. Whispers spread that they were phasing her out. Some claimed she'd been quietly dropped from future deals, and others even speculated she might sue Disney for wrongful termination. True or not, one thing's for sure, her ally count was shrinking fast. Desperate, she started popping up in movie theaters to promote her own film in person. Except nobody was there. Her friend's Instagram story showing empty seats turned into a meme, a punchline. And Rachel? She became the living example of a Hollywood dream gone wrong. Which leads us back to Dubai. Word is Rachel was in the UAE for a private event pitching a brand new project, hoping to reinvent herself post-Snow White. But rumor has it she fainted from sheer fatigue, or perhaps suffered an emotional meltdown, collapsing backstage after hearing Disney's final stance. She's finished. No official word has surfaced, and her team isn't talking. Witnesses say she looked absolutely drained, whether from stress or a panic attack. Rachel Zegler's collapse in Dubai wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. So what happens now? Disney's gone silent. Andrew Burnip isn't saying a word. Gal Gadot's off to new gigs. And Rachel? She's dropping cryptic Instagram posts about growth and letting go. But insiders say Hollywood is watching like a hawk, and casting directors aren't eager to hire someone who set off this much drama over a single film. From a potential award season darling to a viral punchline, Rachel Zegler's crash has been swift, harsh, and some argue deserved. Till maybe there's a last-second twist in the works. Can she turn it around, or is this the final chapter of a fairy tale gone terribly wrong? Sound off in the comments. Is she a casualty of cancel culture, or did she sabotage herself? And don't forget to subscribe, ring that notification bell, and get ready for our next jaw-dropping Hollywood expose, because in this town, no star stays on top forever, and the next big collapse might be right around the corner.